The time of grace is running out, and the latest crisis has already begun to loom on the horizon. We are living in the year 2025. The world is immersed in instability. Wars, pandemics, natural disasters, economic collapses, moral degradation, and the rise of a global discourse for unity and order. Among world, religious, and environmental leaders, a new cry is rising: the need for a universal day of rest. What for many seems like just a social agenda, for others is just another piece being placed on the prophetic board. Prophecies are no longer just on paper. They are being fulfilled before our eyes. If you believe that we are living in the last days, if you see that something much bigger is happening behind the headlines, then help this prophetic message reach more lives. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to wake up. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next alerts. Time is short. And every action you take can awaken a sleeping soul. What is the Sunday law, and why is it so serious? The Sunday law is not just a change in the religious calendar. It is not simply a choice between Saturday or Sunday. It is a global imposition, a decree that will attempt to replace God's law with human commandments. According to biblical prophecy and the inspired writings of Ellen White, there will be a time when Sunday will be exalted as a holy day by civil decree. But this will not be by chance. This will be the trigger for the last crisis on earth, where true faithfulness to God will be tested. Ellen White wrote in The Great Controversy: "The Sabbath will be the great point of controversy in the final conflict between truth and error." In other words, behind the rhetoric of peace and unity, lies a scenario of persecution for those who choose to obey the Lord's commandments. This law will not be just a religious change. It will be the dividing line between those who follow the truth, and those who follow the crowd. And you, have you thought about what is really behind the Sunday law? Leave your comment and share your opinion. Do you think this imposition could really happen? How are you preparing for this time? The first steps that are already happening. The Sunday law will not be passed overnight. It is being prepared little by little, quietly, behind the scenes. And the first steps are already in motion. Religious and political leaders have united around a new agenda. The creation of a global day of rest to care for mental health, family, and the planet. Interfaith conferences in several countries are already calling for a sacred Sunday for all, a common day of spirituality and rest, above religious differences. Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si, declared that Sunday should be restored as a day of healing relationships, peace with creation, and spiritual renewal. The UN, for its part, has supported ideas of collective deceleration on Sundays as an environmental strategy, using terms such as sustainable well-being and ecological pause day. These discourses seem harmless, even noble. But for those who know the prophecies, every sentence, every proposal, and every meeting sounds like an echo of what is to come. They are small but prophetic steps. Everything is falling into place, and many have not yet realized it. The role of the UN, religion, and climate in the name of peace, social justice, and environmental protection. A new narrative is being constructed, and it seems irresistible in the eyes of the world. The United Nations has emphasized that urgent collective action is needed to combat climate collapse and social chaos. Religious leaders of various faiths unite in this discourse, saying that we need to rescue the sacred and find common ground among all faiths. And what is that common ground? Sunday. A day to slow down. A day to reflect. A day to unite humanity. This is the argument that will be used to justify the future imposition. It is for the common good. The proposal will seem fair. Even logical. But behind this facade of kindness and progress will be the fulfillment of the prophecy most feared by the faithful church. Ellen White already warned. Even in the United States, the land of religious freedom, rulers will impose laws that restrict conscience in favor of Sunday. Thus, religion, politics, and the environment become seemingly neutral tools, but prophetically dangerous ones. Everything will be done in the name of peace, unity, and sustainability. But those who do not bow down will be seen as enemies of the new order. The silence of many churches and the danger of indifference. While all this is happening before our eyes, the silence is deafening. Many religious leaders have stopped preaching about the end times. Pastors avoid touching on prophetic themes so as not to frighten the faithful or lose followers. Some even mock the idea of future persecution because of the Sabbath. But the enemy, he is not sleeping. While the world's elite articulate the final movements of history, God's people are distracted by soap operas, social media, vanities, and useless debates in churches. Ellen White wrote, "It is now that we must be awake and alert. The crisis is before us, and many do not realize it. The greatest danger is not the persecution that will come. It is the spiritual indifference that has already taken hold of many hearts. The Sunday decree will be a shock to thousands who claimed to be prepared, but who never took the warnings from heaven seriously. While the decree is being prepared behind the scenes, God's people are struggling with entertainment and distractions. This is the time to watch, pray, and wake up. The time for complacency is over. The shaking is coming. When the Sunday law is enacted, the religious world will be shaken as never before. And what many have ignored, the prophesied shaking, will become a brutal reality. At this decisive moment, masks will fall. Many who are in the church today, singing and preaching, will abandon their faith under pressure. And surprisingly, many who are outside today, will rise up with courage and take their place among the faithful. Ellen White warned, "People will be surprised. Many who think they are standing firm will fall, and the humble, who were not recognized, will rise with power." Just as the disciples were confused and disheartened on the Friday of the crucifixion, many Christians will also be surprised by this final crisis. But the shaking will not come to destroy. It will come to purify God's people. The separation between the wheat and the tares will not be theoretical. It will be visible, painful, and necessary. For God will not have a divided people when the decree is proclaimed. The time for spiritual neutrality is over. Either you stand with the truth, or you will be carried away by the wind of apostasy. How the faithful will be treated. When the Sunday law is imposed, those who remain faithful to the truth will face the contempt of the world. They will be called radicals. They will be accused of being enemies of peace. They will be treated as obstacles to the unity of humanity. And then the consequences will come. Prohibitions. Loss of civil rights. Imprisonment. Open persecution. Just as it was in the days of Daniel, Elijah, John the Baptist, those who keep God's commandments will be marginalized by society and rejected by institutions. But the same God who sustained his servants in the past will sustain his people in the last days. Their bread will be given to them, their water will be sure. Isaiah 33 verse 16. The remnant will not be alone. Even in the midst of mockery and pain, there will be inner peace. Faithfulness will be sealed with tears, but also with the real presence of the Holy Spirit. True worshippers will not retreat. They will know that they are fulfilling their role in the great conflict. And even though they are hated by the world, they will be precious in the eyes of heaven. A call to wake up and decide the time has come to face reality. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is not exaggeration. It is not fanaticism. It is the exact fulfillment of biblical prophecy. It is what was revealed, and now it is happening. You need to make a decision. You can no longer sit on the fence. Either you will follow the crowd, with its false security, or you will stand firm in the truth, even if it costs you everything. Christ warned, "Whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it." Mark 8 verse 35. So stop. Reflect. Are you prepared? It is time to fast. To pray. To study the scriptures deeply. To abandon hidden sin. To reconcile with God. The Sunday decree will not only test your faith. It will reveal who you really are before God. The Sunday law is no longer a distant possibility. It is already being articulated, promoted, and normalized. The first steps have already been taken. The stage is set. And the curtain on the final act of history is about to rise. Night is coming, when no one can work. John 9 verse 4, every decision you make now, every choice, every sacrifice, every silent act of faithfulness, is preparing you for the most decisive moment of your life. Will you remain standing? That is the question heaven is asking. And the answer must come from your soul. Share this video with someone who needs to wake up spiritually. Leave your comment with the phrase, "I stand firm with the truth." Sign up to continue receiving prophetic alerts. Time is running out. And God's seal will not be placed on indecisive hearts.